Hi everyone, my name is Haoyu Zhao, and the entrepreneur I choose is Daniel Ek, who is a CEO of Spotify. The reason I choose him is music apps could be the most common software in my daily life, and if you are in China, I strongly recommend you could use the Wangyi Music because it's a arithmetic to calculate your preference about music is really unique and useful. After you show your preference about music, it's gonna recommend you 20 music on every date, and you're gonna find some of them are really your music taste. Back to the Spotify, and it always ranked top one on download apps, so I'm very interested about its development history and why it's so popular. Does it has the same characteristic as Wangyi Music? And firstly, let me briefly talk about the Daniel Ek. And he comes from the Swedish, and before he decided to found Spotify, he was a software developer. The idea of founding Spotify could contribute to two reasons: music culture in Swedish and Napster, which is infamous for allowing people to illegally share huge amounts of copyright music. And so he developed a strong interest in music when he was a child, and when the age of music piracy had begun, Daniel had discovered a lot of great music through Napster. But a war between a music company and the music fans had begun at the same time. Daniel tried to fix this war, and he wants to build something good both for the consumers and the artists. So the idea of founding Spotify just comes out. The first business is a failed because he tried to get everything in our market, and it's a huge test for a startup company, and it can't handle it. So Daniel shifts his strategy to take a very narrow market, his own country. And after 1 year passed, he started to expand his market one by one. The first major challenge is to get trust from the record companies and the consumers, and the second is how to make Spotify more attractive and capture as many consumers as possible. The solution he came out with is that he could offer some revenues so that a record company could jump on the board. I agree with these approaches to business because mutual benefits is a long-term relationship basis. The obvious benefits for record company is revenues, and the record companies are losing their revenues because of piracy. When Daniel will offers the revenues to record companies, he could get a long-term trust from the record companies, and the record companies could stop the lose at the same time. I think there's no any other reason to refuse Daniel's. Besides this, Daniel tried to make the Spotify more convenient, make it more convenient to consumers. For example, like provide offline models and remove some boring advertisements. After they build long-term trust, record company could provide the better products to Spotify, and so more and more people are willing to use Spotify, and they pay the membership fees without protest. The current valuation of Spotify is about the $26 billion. If I work at a SoftBank, I will recommend that the Spotify could be the portfolio company. I do research about the recent news about Spotify, and it's planning to acquire the GMAT Media, which is one of the leading podcast production house. If this media complete, Spotify could continue to develop its own lines of original contents and intelligence propriety, and it could not only get benefit from additional users and advertisement revenues, but also from the follow-on effect of whatever else that AP could be turned into down the road. I think there's a good future development condition for Spotify. So this is why that's a reason I recommend. And thanks for listening.